What up, everybody? It's your boy Heems, and we are back with another podcast coming to you guys live. Hope everybody's having a good morning so far. To everybody out there, shouts out to you. We're about to go ahead and get started with this. To everybody, I'd like to introduce Celestial Gaming. She is here with me right now doing our second podcast interview with another streamer, guys. Please give it up for Celestial Gaming. How you doing, Celeste?
I'm doing good. And once again, thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my story and also for what you're doing with your platform. I really appreciate this.
Oh, thank you for the opportunity for allowing me to do this with you. This is something new I wanted to start off and definitely had you on. Definitely had you as a one I wanted to go ahead and do an interview with. So seriously, thank you so much for being here. I do appreciate it.
You're
To
welcome.
every oh, thank you. To everybody, bear with me. The internet may either kind of go on the fritz, so if you notice a few second pause in between, we're actually using Skype as far as with the interview, so just bear with us in between. So let's just getting started. I mean, what got you into streaming, or what made you want to become a streamer?
I would say originally what made me want to become a streamer was my friends. They were doing it. And this was like, I would say like at least around 2018, 16-ish. And they were doing it and they told me to do it. I did it a couple times and I just honestly I wasn't into it because I didn't really have a why. It was wanted me to do it. So I gave it a chance, did it for a couple months, then I dropped off. And then as I got older, I became more embracive about the nerdy side, the gamer side about me. And I wanted to involve myself more within the gaming community. And I chose streaming to be that way for me to be more involved within the gaming community.
That's really interesting because it's hard, actually, or it's sort of like being in the nerdy community. It's like it was one of those like it took a while for that to finally start to grow on. Earlier on when we were much younger, or everybody was younger, it's like you play video games, you did this, you did that, but it was like it hasn't, really hit the wave or really hit the streets as much as it has been now, or what it's been doing now, just as of recently. And
Hmm.
the community like with streaming is really coming together. For you to do this and been doing this for the past few, how does it feel to you to still keep going with streaming?
It has been an exhilarating journey. It really has. When I first was throwing myself out of the frying pan and into the fire, had low expectations because I just knew that gaming was what I love to do. And I just wanted to be able to find a tribe, find a community with people who are embracing their nerdy and their gaming selves, and where I can feel comfortable about having those conversations because growing up, as you said before, it wasn't really as popular. A lot of people did get made fun of, which is why I chose to withhold that side. And as I got older, I wanted to embrace it more, but I also knew that it meant for me to start putting myself out there.
When you first started to stream, were you nervous, like with your first streaming and even on recording? Another question, I guess, to ask even to or add to the mix of it. When you first started streaming, did you actually use a camera the first time, or did you just try to just go based off your audio and the game?
When when I first started streaming, there was no camera. It was just me and my PlayStation. I was playing Grand Theft Auto 5 I believe when it came out on the PlayStation 3. It was a PlayStation 4, yeah. When they remastered it and made it on the PlayStation 4, it was just me, no camera. And I didn't really put no thought into it, because Twitch was still new to me. So I didn't really understand how the platform knew that I hit start, it streamed.
It honestly, that was the same thing for myself. When I first started streaming, I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit camera shy. I really just did everything like off the console. Did you have any streamers or anybody that you watched, either like I don't know if you ever like if you go on YouTube or if you was on Twitch. Did you ever have a specific streamer that either motivated you or pushed you to actually become a streamer?
Mm, I would. I wouldn't say they motivated me to become a streamer, but they motivated me to keep on going and to communicate more with people. One streamer who I first ran into when I started taking streaming more seriously was Miss Toma Origata, who is a wonderful and dear friend of mine. Um, when I started to get more involved in Twitch around 2019, around July or June, I came across her stream, and she was to me, she was the first Black woman that I seen playing video games for me, from my experience on Twitch. And I was amazed because I was like, I knew that there were more melanated women out there playing video games, but when you're growing up and you don't really have that representation, it's not really in your mind and it's not that present.
Right. I agree. It's a sort of a what's that like a stigma for especially like in in our community of being like a nerd. That was basically always like kind of out, casted out, gaming and stuff. It was cool when you were like, you're a kid growing up, but then after once you hit like, your sophomore year and everything, it's like all that stuff got to be kicked out on the side. I know what you mean. Like, I was the same person too, like with like cartoons and stuff like that. I was actually shouts out to my homie Noah, who I had sat there and one day I went to his house and he was actually still watching like Dragon Ball Z and stuff. I'm like, you actually
Mm.
grown watching cartoons? You could still do that? He was like, yeah, why not? I was like, huh. I just didn't know that that was actually so strong. And then, he was the same kind of cat that sit there and walk around, wear the shirt, DC, all that. He was actually when they actually got me into comics. And then after that,
Really?
just kind of yeah, like I read manga before, but I read it online, but it was kind of that thing of it's online, it's discreet, nobody has to know. You could just quickly, so somebody come by, switch that page.
Mm.
No, I was just looking at the news. I was watching the news. I swear. I was watching the football game. Like, you okay? What's really going on with the Reds? They go for that first step, first and what? Yeah, that. And actually, it got me to where I actually started, just kind of coming out and actually start wearing, like my own the t-shirts or be seen as game, in gaming and stuff. So I mean, honestly, what we're doing is like it's really a huge step up, and the streamer stuff that you were mentioning, that's a huge motivator. One of my motivational or one of my streamers I used to like to watch a lot was Dashy Games, and
Mm.
it was a refresher for me because he comes on the stream and like he literally like he cusses, he just says anything and everything, and it's like wow, he's not getting dinged or nobody has a problem with him, and like he's just just being as goofy as he can be. And I was watching his current videos to his previous videos, and in his previous videos, you just watch that transformation from him, kind of just either kind of coming across bland, but yet at the same time, it still worked for him. I
Mm.
still watch some of his previous videos, but seeing him, seeing Flo, it's like wow, the community is really growing. Like Black streamers really coming up. It's really coming out, and is continuing to flood the mainstream and out here on Twitch and YouTube. I'm really liking where it's going with it.
Mm. And to add on to that, being a Twitch streamer, people or what I used to do is I had to really understand like who I was projecting onto the screen, because even though my screen name is Celestial Gaming Goddess, I'm still Eve, and at the end of the day, I want to be authentic with the people who I am streaming with, because I understand that, or from what I've witnessed, is a lot of people get caught up into a personality or a character, and it comes to a point where they're not being authentic with themselves. And just like you spoke on with Dashi, the one thing I do love about Dashi is that he's been himself, even though he's changed, because I understand like before he was a bit more calmer and he wasn't as
Anime. Yeah.
yeah, but at the end of the day he's always been himself. And that is what inspires me to also just to always be myself no matter the environment that I'm in, but to also embrace my growth as well because it's okay to change. It is.
Now, a question I'd like to ask you, as far as a streamer, is it is it rough or can it be rough at times when you're streaming as far as like, either like, depending on if you got like your own production or whatever, like, doing your own editing, becoming your own moderator, editing your videos, doing your own sound. Does it make the job necessarily rough or difficult at times? Do you get stressed out or how do you deal with it?
Oh, I definitely do get stressed out. It really it comes down to your why. To me, streaming, it's not really all of that difficult, but I won't say it's easy either. It's like an in between because to me with streaming, it is something that I do want to pursue as to have something not like a career in streaming, but I do want to do this long term. So I do kind of have a business mindset when it comes to Twitch and streaming, and I understand that some people may look at it just for fun or just as a hobby. So I really believe it all comes down to what do you want out of streaming? Why are you doing it? What do you want to get out of this? Do you want to make money or do you not want to make money? How far do you want this to go? Like, do you want to do this for a couple years, or is this something that, I'm gonna do it here and I'll just see how it goes, and then I'll just leave it alone and just do something else. So I really feel like it boils down to what is your why and where do you want to go with it, and where do you see yourself going with streaming?
I can really get down with that. It's honestly, you're right, because you have to know that reason. Some people say, you really got to have a love for gaming in and of itself to really, I guess, benefit as far as like if you do decide to make money off of it. But I've also heard people say it was differently. Like, yeah, you can have a fun with it, but also it's like there is a business side to it that you have to keep in mind. So I guess like almost like you basically have to find that balance between even the why, would you say,
Mm-hmm.
to
Yeah.
yeah, to keep it going. What else? Now, are you planning on streaming on any other platforms, or are you just strictly you sticking with Twitch all the way?
Um, what I plan to do is for right now, I am strictly just streaming on Twitch because I do have a community already formed on Twitch. So right now I do not mind expanding and streaming on other platforms, but if I were to do that, it would be for a different reason because I feel like as a streamer, you don't just have to stream video games to be a streamer. You can stream art, you can stream working out or cooking. It just all depends on what do you define yourself as a streamer?
I've noticed on Twitch, people are. I've noticed on Twitch now, people are actually streaming not just video games. I've seen people actually sit here and perform, music, or they're actually doing cooking, or everybody, is just sitting around, maybe just doing like a movie night where everybody's kind of watching a reaction. I definitely say Twitch has really expanded. And as far as like, well, if you had a different, or would you just occupy just strictly on gaming, or have you actually branched out, or would you consider branching out and doing other things if you are going to, as you stream?
Currently, right now, I am branching out. I do also play video games, but I am more than just a gamer. I do like to have honest conversations, whether it is about mental health or it could be about fitness. I don't want to just hold myself in a box. I do want to branch out in other things and do more IRL streams.
Right. That's a big one too about mental health of what you're doing too. Do you get a lot of common questions like as far as like with when you're doing the mental health, as far as like burnouts, or do people come to you about burnouts?
I would say within the community that I have, I see people talk about it, and also join in the conversation, and then I also spark the conversation. Whenever I do IRL chats, there'll be like a topic in the title of what I am going to talk about, and people will come in and they'll chime in and they'll also give their experience, because the only thing I can go off is my experience, whether it was from me dealing with depression or anxiety. And then people will come in and chime in on how they deal with it and what that's meant for them and how they're dealing with it. And we basically just have a conversation on how we can grow and go further from it and not let our, just because we have depression, just because we have anxiety, it doesn't define us, nor does it define our experiences in life.
Right, right. I definitely agree with that because you have so many different streamers and stuff who are now kind of coming out and they're either talking about burnouts, or you even have some of the bigger people asking whether or not they're not as funny. Do they consider themselves as so? It's like to actually be able to discuss that on the level that we're at now, to where I think in the long term, it's going to help us in the grand scheme, be able to accomplish more later down the road.
Yeah. Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, especially when it comes to burning out. I've definitely have burned myself out because it's kind of like platform only grow as much as effort as you put into it. And sometimes what happens is we get caught up, especially when it comes to being on Instagram and Twitter, on social media in general. We see everybody's successes and then we compare it to our success. And because we see them at their chapter 35 and we may be only on chapter 15, we sit there and compare ourselves and feel like, okay, well, since this person's here, I need to start going in harder. I need to start putting in more work. When actuality, you need to take a step back and figure out who you are, figure out what you want to do and why you're doing it, and not focus so much on just trying to grind it out, because nothing is overnight. I mean, there are a few people who do have that overnight success, and shout out to them, because I don't know their journey, but that's their success. But it's not everybody is going to be that overnight success, and I think that's the reality that some people have to understand.
Right. I strongly agree with that because I think that's sometimes the problem. And even myself, I've experienced that before. Being on the platform or being on more than one platform, it's like, okay, I'm doing this or I'm doing that. Where am I going with this? Or am I doing this right? What's going on? Or then like you said before, you'll compare and be like, oh well, this person's doing, so what measures do I need to take versus, just being enough or be good with what you're doing and just building off of that versus getting caught up in like the pressure of trying to, well, I want to be like the next PewDiePie, or I want to be the next on it. And not keeping in mind though, for them to be the so-called, well, I want to be like the next this person, that person had to build their own brand to get to that point, which means
Yeah.
that's which which basically reflects to everybody as a whole. Everybody had to start somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, in closing, do you want to give anybody either a shout out, or is there anything you'd like to say to the audience as a whole as far as with being a streamer?
Well, first, I want to give a shout out to the people within my community, because they are absolutely the people who encourage me, inspire me to keep going. I I honestly don't know where I would be without them. Um, Giving advice as a streamer, because I'm still just, I'm a baby streamer. I think it's officially about to be a year since I've started taking streaming seriously. Um, First, find out your why. Why are you doing it and what are you doing it for? And also have an understanding that you don't have to just play video games to be a streamer. Twitch is a streaming platform, yes, but it's grown out more now, where you can just you can, as you said, stream music and still get that growth. But figure out who you are first and why you're doing it to become a streamer. I believe in you, and I know you can do anything you put your mind to it. So, just do it. All you got to do is just do it. Don't think about it. Just do it.
Right, and that's the biggest, and yet it's like it's the easiest, and yet that's one thing people got to do is just don't think about it, just do it, immediately start. That way you can actually go ahead and then decide from there where it goes or how you want to take it. Do you want to tell everybody too on different platforms or how they can reach you either via through social media or if you want to give that?
Yes, you can follow me on Twitch or Instagram at Celestial Gaming Goddess, and also on my blog, Instagram, and my blog and YouTube at Be Free with Eve, just a regular B. There is no BE. And I will catch you guys later. And once again, thank you so much for this. I appreciate this, and I appreciate what you're doing with your platform.
Thank you, Celeste. I really do appreciate you, and thank you for being a second interviewer with me to do this and taking the chance. I really do appreciate that from you. I appreciate you too as a fellow streamer, as a friend. Thank
Oh,
you, and thank you for taking the time to do this for everybody. This means a lot. So, guys, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up this podcast right here. If you didn't hear it, this was a Celestial Gaming Goddess right here with us tonight. Definitely look out, guys, for more content coming you guys' way soon, and definitely look forward to another podcast coming you guys' way. I'll definitely be back with more content to everybody. If you want to find out where I stream, I normally stream Monday through Friday, both on YouTube and Twitch. On YouTube at 6 p.m., on Twitch at 8 p.m. Also, this podcast can also be found on Spotify as well as on SoundCloud. So, guys, make sure you tune out there, and I'll definitely see you guys on the next one. This is your boy Heemscast Gaming, Celestial Gaming Goddess signing off. To everybody out there, peace.
bye.